When Virginia first shared this cut file, I automatically thought of sort of lovey-dovey pictures or sort of pictures of my kids and their boyfriends or girlfriends and things, but I was in my lunch break at school and I sort of had this sort of amazing view of the Remarkables, and I realised how much I loved being able to see this, and I thought of this cut file and thought, right, I'm going to capture this and document it on a page. And so here it is. So I've cut the cut file out on a full 12 by 12 sheet of white daisy cardstock. I have stitched some of them because this cut file fabulously comes with stitching holes to make the stitching super easy for some of them. And now I've just gone through and I've chosen some of the paper that I'm going to use to back this cut file, and I've chosen one that's from the You Are Enough collection, which was a special collection with close to my heart. Has beautiful marbles and skies and galaxies and just lots of gorgeous tones in it, and I have trimmed down this sheet so that it's going to back the cut file, and I trimmed it down just so that it would fit in behind without taking over too much. So you can see some of my messy stitching there as I work my way around so that I can adhere this. So I'm putting some adhesive in between the parts because I don't want it lifting too much from the centre of the page. So sometimes if you don't adhere them in the centre, they sort of flop around a little bit. So I'm sort of seeing where that will fit in there so it tucks in nicely and it covers my messy stitching, which is even better. So I've got the photo here that I am going to use as sort of the main point or the main part of the story, backed up by this cut file. So I'm just going through some of my stamps and having a look and working out which ones might work. And I've got this heart heart stamp here that I decided to use, and I'll check out what collection that was or what stamp set that was from. It's an older one that you can use, and I've chosen some more of the You Are Enough papers that I'm just going to back these photos with. Love this one. It reminds me of a very colourful Formica bench with just the wee specks of colour all through it. So I've chosen a few colours, and I'm going to grab one of the lovely collection papers here with these hearts on it, which is a different collection, but I think it goes really nicely with the papers and things that I've got here. So I'm going to mat each of these, of the photo, onto the different pieces of patterned paper using a few different layers in here. So I'm just sticking them down, and I'm going to use some foam tape just to lift this up. I find foam tape really useful when mounting it on sort of an uneven surface underneath. It just helps to even it out and tidy it up. And I noticed that the photo was a little bit wasn't completely straight on the mat, so I angled it a little bit so the photo will be straight but the mat isn't, and that's perfectly fine. So now I'm just scrunching up the edges around the papers around the photo mat to give some more texture and to lift it up, and so it doesn't just look like a few pieces of straight cut paper stuck down on a gorgeous background. And I realise here that I do want to straighten this photo up a bit, so I just peel back one of those layers really carefully, and I do go back later on to adhere that in again. So I have grabbed some of my stamps that are here, and I am going to put these onto the layout. So I've chosen some of my blue ink pads, and I've turned my Versa mat over. This mat's really cool. It's got a cutting side on one side, and it has a foam side on the other, so you can get a really good stamped surface. The stamps do come with a nice mat that you can do this with, but I find when I'm doing it on a 12 by 12 layout, the foam behind the whole layout is actually really useful. So the stamp, I put some words above the 0 or the naught, the hug symbol, and it's got love this, and I've just added in a tag stamp there, and I'm just adding my journaling into that little space. So just popping that on, and then sort of thinking, what else can I add, what do I want to include, and looking at a few more different stamps and how they could work out. So looking at the different colours, again, just choosing some different shades of blue. I've stamped a heart in behind where the photo is. I just missed that piece out on the video, but you can see it tucked in there to the left, as well as a little bit of it out to the right. So bringing out some of the black ink, and I'm just adding a bit of a border stamp down here. I quite like collecting stamps like the border ones and things, because they just to add that variety and can be used on so many different pages. So I'm just going to go around the whole layout using this wee stamp. It's sort of like faux stitching almost, the way I'm using it here, but I quite liked that inkiness because I've got the stitching in the gorgeous cut file. I'm wanting to just change the texture or change what I'm doing in the background so there isn't too much of that and I'm not detracting from the interest in the other areas. So while this view is one that I really enjoy, it's nice that I'm on term break at the moment, and while I don't have that view every day, it's a different view and I'm enjoying being on a break. Hey, thanks for watching, and check out the information below to find out more about these fabulous cut files. Thanks for watching.